Welcome back to the Future of Figure Skating. My name's Anna Keller, and this episode features three-time European medalist Matteo Rizzo. We recorded this episode in person in Madesimo, Italy, where Matteo trains at altitude for part of each summer. Matteo's had one of the longest and most consistent careers in men's singles skating. He's won 3 European medals, been to the Olympics twice, and has been a national gold or silver medalist every year from 2014 to 2023. In 2024, Matteo won bronze at Europeans and then took the rest of the season off to get hip surgery. We talked with him about his recovery from that surgery and his return to competition, how he's learned to be a more effective athlete in training over the course of his career, and how much he enjoys performing for an audience and that emotional connection. Hope that you enjoyed this interview, and we wish Matteo all the best as he's returning to competition.
This is Anna with the Future of Figure Skating podcast, and I'm here in Madesimo with Matteo Rizzo. Matteo, thanks so much for taking the time out of your training to talk with us.
Thank you for contacting me.
It's really fun to get to see you in your summer training location. Not that you are training in front of a waterfall all the time, but I think first off, just want to know how your recovery has been, because you had the surgery a few months ago and it seems like you're doing well back on the ice.
Well, yeah, the past months were very tough for me. It's been now 6 months since the surgery, so I can say fully recovered. Well, the first months were very hard. Rehabilitation. I was in Rome in the Olympic Training Center, and it was perfect for me. I've been there for 2.5 months with the perfect staff around me, physiotherapist. And really, I think the Italian Olympic Committee and the Italian Figure Skating Federation gave me a lot to recover. And after that, going back on the ice was a little bit scary, I can say, because hip operation, the surgery are very tough, because hip is a big joint. So it's always hard to go back and do what you want to do. But now I'm here in Madesimo. It's a beautiful place for us to practice. We are in the nature, and it's pretty cold here compared to all the rest of Italy, so it's the perfect place. And I'm happy to say that I'm back on the ice, jumping and trying to get back all my jumps and spins and skating skills.
Are there some things that you feel like are harder to get back than others? Was there anything that surprised you about this recovery process?
Well, for sure, jumping and gain back all the quads, it's always the most difficult part. To get back the quickness of the rotation, it's, I think, the most difficult part. But the first day I was back on the ice, also skating skills was hard. But now I can say that I'm back at where I was before, and I'm happy for this, and I'm actually improving a lot. I'm working a lot on the lines, on the edges, and to be better skating skills in figure skating men.
I've talked to people about how often the hardest part of an injury or recovery process is just keeping sort of mentally focused, or when you're used to exercising so much all the time, and then you have this time where you have to sort of rest or just do a few things. How did you approach that mental part of the recovery?
Well, the first thing you have to know that you need time. You don't have to rush, and you have the time to go back in shape. So yeah, doing first skating skills, then a lot of exercises. Then maybe you feel like you want to jump, but your body is not ready. So I've been in that moment where I was ready to jump triples, and I did a couple of jumps. Then I text to the doctor that did the surgery, and he told me yeah, it's great, but remember, you're not ready to do that yet. So I had to wait a little bit more. But then the main thing that in my mind was wait, you have the time. The season is starting in a lot of months, so don't rush.
And throughout a lot of last season, I think you were training with the injury and training with that pain. So then it must feel really good to now be able to train knowing that you're healthy.
Well, yeah, when you know you have something that is not right in your body, it's hard. But last season, I just tried to finish as best as I can, and the surgery was kind of a relief for me because I knew that I did the best I could, and now it was just time to recover myself. I knew I was going to miss World Championships, but my body told me, yeah, you have to miss that to go back next season and be even stronger.
And you had an amazing performance and result at Europeans, given that you were going in knowing that you were in such, difficult condition, I think. And then maybe at the time, I feel like I remember you saying you weren't sure whether the surgery would be a success or if maybe that might even be your last competition. How did you be able to do so well under those conditions?
Well, at Europeans was a very difficult competition and very strange also, I would say, because I was there with just a few weeks of practice before, and the practice was not in 100% condition. I had to do a step back with the quad loop. I couldn't do it anymore. So yeah, it was hard. But already I was there. I was happy for that. With all my team, we spoke like, okay, we are here. We try to do our best, and we see what we can get. Then yeah, the doctor was speaking to us before and say, yeah, hip is very complicated. So we can make the surgery. Then the rehabilitation will be the key on your career, because if you just jump few steps in the rehabilitation, you will not be able to skate anymore. Or maybe like you can skate, but not do the professional skater. So that's why we really wait a long time. And before jumping, I think I started jumping like 4.5 months after the surgery. So just 1.5 months ago. It was a long time.
Yeah, but it sounds like you were having good advice and being very patient and doing all of the right things to be prepared for it.
Yeah, when you go and you speak with the doctor, and he first thing he told me, like, if you keep it going like this, you will not be able to skate anymore. So, and I told him, I know, but in 5 weeks I would have Europeans. What I can do? He looked at me and say, okay, we try. You do less, but the next day after Europeans, you need to have the surgery. That's it. That's the deal. And I said, okay, that's the deal. We do it. So, I didn't have space in my mind to think too much.
Yeah. Yeah. You knew, I mean, maybe that also helps to take some of the pressure off, to not be thinking like, oh, everything's been going great. You're in perfect shape. Oh, you're going to get a medal. Like,
Yeah. Also that one, yeah, when you're, I wouldn't say the underdog, because the underdog, you never get medals before. You're just, coming from nothing. But for sure, I was not in the best condition. And I just knew that I had to try 110% to get the medal. And then after the short, when I saw the, the possibility, it was like 10%. But I took it all. Even if it was 1% for me, it was enough to take it. So I had to try it.
Yeah, and it was such an emotional free skate too. I think that the combination of knowing that was what was going on with you and having the Fix You program and everything. So I think when you're coming back, because you're planning to use this again this season, right?
Yeah.
Then it will hopefully even more so be kind of the part 2 triumphant return of Fix You.
That's the goal. That's the goal. Yeah, it was very emotional program for me. I always say I was dead at the end. I had no energy left anymore. But for sure, next season, every program that I will skate in competition, there will be a part of Matteo in the past season, fighting with the body and fighting with the problem that I had.
Yeah. And I wanted to ask you about your short program, because I know last season you had one and then you switched back to the older one, the Two Men in Love, and now you're using that again. Sort of what was your thinking with those two programs and how you approach that?
So the first part of the season, I think I built one of the hardest program with Massimo Scali, and the program was nice. I liked it, but it was very complicated. And sometimes you have to accept yourself that you are not in the condition to perform that program. So we try to do something different. And the music from Two Men in Love that I've skated already before, I was feeling a lot, that music. So we just we didn't have much time to do a new program. So we wanted to try that again. And it worked. Because even if at Europeans, I popped the first quad, but then the program was there. If it felt for me that I did no mistake, even though I did like a 12 points mistake. So what I can say is that it's always hard to change programs in the middle of the seasons, but if you feel it, then you can skate a very good program. And next season, I decided to keep everything the same. First of all, because I had not much time to work on new programs. And second of all, because I was thinking like everybody saw those two programs together just at Europeans. I want the people to see it again and to feel the emotions again.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think that will be smart because there's programs that there's a lot of room for nuance and emotion, and you can keep building and adding on to them as you go.
Yeah, exactly. That's the point that we are, me and with my team, with the choreographer, with also Luca Lanotte, we are trying to, build all those programs together.
Yeah.
The point for me is, of course, to skate my best, to try to win medals. But the most important part for me is to give the people emotions and to let the people remember me. That's for me the best thing.
Yeah, we were talking a few times recently with skaters about the importance of that kind of individuality and how sometimes with all of the rules and the judging system, it can be hard to find space to really communicate as what makes you unique as a person. Do you find that? And I guess I'm curious how your approach to that sort of artistic side of figure skating maybe has changed as you've grown up and gotten older.
Well, in the past years, the level of figure skating, especially in men, is getting higher with all the quads. So there is no space for components part. So for emotions, all the programs now are on technical part. So, for example, last year at Europeans, I had to step back on the technical part. So I had to give more on the artistic, on the emotions. So we really worked on that. And I feel more comfortable. I would say that programs like the programs that you remember the most are not the one with the most quads, but the one with the most emotions. I always say this. So I would like once again to let the people remember me for what I gave them and not for which jump I did in the competitions.
Yeah, I think that is true because again, I remember the feeling of your free skated Europeans, for example. I could not tell you which jumps were in it at this point, but I remember what it felt like being in the audience and the emotion of it. And those are the things that stick with you.
Yeah, I always say like when I skate and I'm on the ice, you are alone in 1,800 meters square. And the only thing you can do is to ask the people to come with you. So when I'm on the ice and I feel the people, the noise, the crowd, the clapping, it's all vibes that are coming into my body and giving me the energy to fight until the end. So I think that's the most important part of our sport, and we don't have to lose it.
That's great. Have you always had that ability to connect with the audience that way, like from the time that you were like a little kid? Do you think that's a strength that comes more naturally or something you've worked on intentionally?
Well, you have to start with the base of that, meaning like when you skate in a competition, even if you're a kid, if you feel like the people is following you, then you get excited and then you push more.
Yeah.
Then when you start growing, you realize that you can use that part of the sport to give you even more energy, and more confidence, and more emotions. So yeah, like in the last, I would say 5 years, I use that and I practice that. So for example, every time if I am skating a very good program before the steps, I always like turn to the audience and say, okay, give me your last power, and so I need to finish this for you. And every time I watch the videos back, the most beautiful part for me is when I hear the people more than the music. For me, inside it's like vibes, just vibes, and giving me energy. Yeah.
With the rules, there was perhaps this season going to be this change with the goal of trying to have more space for there being this artistry with the choreo elements and one less jump. But then ultimately they decided to postpone until after the Olympics. So were you disappointed in that? Because I think that means maybe now you won't get to experience that new change as a competitive athlete.
Well, I would say that I was prepared. I was ready. Sorry to this decision, because it's hard to have a big change in the middle of the Olympics.
Yeah.
So because if they would have changed now the rules, they would have one season to try, another one to set, and then there was Olympics already. So I kind of knew there was no time to big changes like that. I actually liked the point that there was like a choreo spin, one less jump, and so I had more space to choreography the program. But already like now with 7 jumps,
Yeah.
we have a little bit of space. The most difficult part is that we need to put a lot of quads to be competitive. So the quads are very demanding for our body and for our mind. So usually when you see the quads, there is not a lot of choreography in between, and but that's the sport, trying to find the balance between the technical part and the components, what we call components part. So it's fine. We always work on that.
Yeah. Do you like the idea of there being a technical program and an artistic program, or making the two be more distinct? I've heard that idea floated as a potential way for the sport to go.
It's always difficult to understand how can be, because we are used to something and then change completely. It's always like, yeah, it can work, but it might not work. Never know. I always say that we have to try, we have to test, and to understand how it can work. For sure, giving a technical program and an artistic program can give the people and more athletes to get more medals, because there is some skaters a very good artistic part, but they are not so solid in the jumps. So yeah, can open to more people to claim medals. But once again, right now the balance between those two, it's the medal. Yeah. So it's even harder, I say.
Yeah. Yeah. You were saying earlier that you have earlier in your career, you got to experience what it was like to train a little bit in the US, in Russia, in Oberstdorf, and having some of those different kinds of coaching and inputs. And that now you are very happy with your team and working with them. And so I'm curious what you feel like maybe you got from some of those earlier experiences that you have tried to bring with you, or that maybe is represented in those skill sets in your current team.
Well, I think it was crucial, in an early stage of a career for an athlete to understand what's around you. I think it's crucial because then you can realize how different people trains, that there are different techniques, and for me it was very important. I would say that I have spent about, 7-8 years going around the world during the summer, and that gave me really the confidence and the power to understand. Oh, for example, in Colorado Springs, there's this guy is pushing so high, so I can push like him. There was an example, but it's like this. That's why you travel the world, realize people is going a lot, pushing hard, and then you can go back and work in your own ice rink in the winter, and then make the best season that you can.
Yeah. I was thinking about how in Bergamo they have many of the top pair teams right now, and they're all there pushing each other all the time. But I think that you are the only hop man who's there training at the moment. Do you feel like you missed that close competition with someone else at the same level, or is it good for you to be that single gorgeous?
Well, I would say that also Nikolai Memola is there, but we are kind of alone. Some people would say, yeah, I prefer to be alone as a top skater, so everybody is focused on me. I like the competition. Like if I have people around me that is pushing hard, even if the day is down, like I feel so tired because the day before I was working a lot, that's the moment when you need the competition to push. And so yeah, I definitely miss that. But if you don't have the opportunity to have the competition inside your practice, the best thing to do is to realize it, so you can practice alone yourself and push yourself to the goal.
Yeah. I'm curious about how your team works, because you have a few different coaches that you're working with, and also some choreographers who are in the rink on a regular basis. Like, tell me, like, how does a typical week of training work for you? Who do you work with over the?
Yeah, I always say I have a big team behind, because I have 3 coaches. I have Franca Bianconi, my dad Walter, and Andre Otarek. I have a lot of choreographers. I have Massimo Scali, I have Luca Lanotte, then all the off-ice coaches. So yeah, I have a big team, but mainly we are working as a one. So we make meetings to realize and to understand what to work on for the next month. To, for example, put down the calendar of the season, to realize who's coming with me in this competition, in that competition, so to work more with him or with her. And mainly, we practice 3 to 4 hours. Actually, yeah, 3 hours on the ice, 1-2 hours of the ice every day. But the good part of my team, that, as I said, we're working as one. So it doesn't matter for me if there is my dad, or there is Franca or Andre. I know that we are working in one direction, and so we are all working towards something. That's the main part of having a big team. And sometimes, it's hard because everyone has their own head, so they try to think. But overall, it has been a few years now working with a big team, and the results are very satisfying for me. So I will for sure keep working like this.
Yeah. And having your dad as part of your coaching team, I mean, this is such a common thing in skating, that you have that sort of dual relationship. But I always think I couldn't stand, my dad tried to teach me how to drive a car, and I think we wanted to kill each other. So it always, from an outside, seems, odd that you can make that work. So how do you manage to, have that balance of your relationship?
I think there is a better question, which is how he manages. Now, actually, yeah, of course, I grew up with my dad, so of course at home, of course in figure skating. So he knows me. He knows how to manage my down moments. He knows how to manage my high moments. But right now, I feel like we have a balance, and there's not much to say. you know that he's the coach that will always be there for you.
Yeah.
For example, because he's your dad.
Yeah.
So it can never be, you go away from my ice rink, I will never see you again. That can't be. Because then there is my mom that kick him. No, but yeah, you know, we have, I think, a good, solid relation. And he helped me a lot, for sure, in the age between 10 and 15, which when it's the moment to choose what you do in your life. And now he's always behind me, pushing me, and so I feel really grateful to have him in my team.
Do you think that you will sort of follow in his footsteps and go on to be a coach when you are done competing?
I always say that I'm open to any decision I will be able to make in the future. I like to coach. I would say that I hopefully try to get a coach seat in the Ice Lab in Bergamo, but maybe one day I will decide to make, for example, the judge or the specialist.
Yeah.
Those are not my spots, but never say never in the future. So right now I'm very, very focused on my career towards the Milano Cortina Olympics. And then after that, I say I'm very young. I will be 27, so I can decide also, to leave completely the figure skating world and to change, study something different, and work on that. But never know in your life.
Yeah, yeah. That you will have plenty of time to experiment and figure out what you want. So speaking of the Olympics, that is for sure the thing hanging over this season is hopefully Italy qualifying for the team event and qualifying as many spots as possible. And I mean, it's really amazing to see how much skating in Italy has grown, and you've been a big part of that. You had the first, junior world medal and first Grand Prix medals for Italy as a man. And I'm just curious sort of how you and your team are thinking about the pressure of this Olympics and a home Olympics versus, keeping yourself focused on what you have to do in front of you.
So we need to start a little bit behind there because right now Italy has a very competitive men figure skaters. So, and I'm really happy for that because it means that we are growing, and being competitive means also that we have more chances to get a medal in the team event and of course in the single event. For sure, the Italian Federation is working a lot to get the medal in the team event, and by working a lot I mean like giving us what we need to practice as best for that Olympic. Yeah. And for us as Italians, knowing that the next Olympic game will be in Milano, for the figure skating part will be in Milano, it's where I grew up. Even if I was born in Rome, but I grew up in Milan, and it was emotional to know that I can be skating in Olympics in my hometown. And I will fight for it because we have qualification rankings and everything, so it's still a long way to go, but I will for sure do my best because I want to be there. I want to fight for the medals, and I want to fight for Italy because I want to show the people like what is our sport and which emotion can give.
Yes. Franco was telling us about how much of an importance the Torino Olympics was for growing figure skating in Italy, and all of the girls who saw Carolina and wanted to get into figure skating. And I was thinking about that and how hopefully with this Olympics there will be strong men, strong dance, strong pairs, and that will be inspiring for for a new generation as well.
Yeah, for sure. Big events in the home country is always a good way to start something new with the kids, because people is approaching the sport, and first of all they're trying to understand how it works, and of course then if you win a medal, more people will watch it. So it's always like a circle of life, going on. And for sure, Milano Cortina Olympics will bring a lot of people close to figure skating and just speed skating, skiing, everything. But hopefully more at figure skating.
Yeah, yeah. And we often talk about how there are, not as many men who go into figure skating or boys who get put into it or maybe get discouraged from it if they get teased about it or something like that. And so it's nice to see so many strong role models on the Italian team. But I'm curious sort of how you probably got into it because you have the family connection. But how do you think we can be encouraging more people to get into skating and maybe especially getting more boys into skating?
For sure, the main part is to let the people and let the people understand how it works, because our sport is very complicated. And when people that is not into the sport, even if they watch World Championship, they don't really understand. So for me, the main part is to work on let the people understand what we do and how the score is made. So every time I try to, post something on my social media, I try to speak as easy as I can. I cannot speak about, I did the triple flip Euler, triple lutz or triple axel half loop. No. It's like speaking to a small kid that has to realize what we are working on and how it works, so the people can get closer. And for sure, if you have a lot of good skaters, there is more hype, more media around us, and more people watching. So then you can start. Once again, it's a circle. But I say that the first part is to open a little bit our sport, because it's very complicated to understand. And
Yeah, this is the first step. That's good. Yeah, for sure. And so for you, the next thing on your agenda after your training here will be doing some shows. And I think that will be the first time kind of the public will be seeing you back in skating. You want to say anything about what you're preparing for those shows?
Well, it will be the first time back after the surgery, and I'm very excited because it's a first step into the season, skating in front of the public. For sure, I will skate one program every night, and then the other, it's an exhibition that I made with Luca Lanotte. So it will be kind of a surprise, but it's an Italian singer, very famous in Italy. I'm for sure everybody will love it. And after that, the season begins. So back in Bergamo for practice.
And you're maybe it's lucky with the recovery that you have the later Grand Prix, but will you do competitions before then?
Yeah, we were thinking about to go to Budapest for the Challenger Series in start mid-October, so to have a little bit more time. But for sure, we will take that competition as a test, because going back at high-level competition. And then, I was grateful to be. I'm grateful to have a late Grand Prix. I will go to Japan. I will stay in Japan for practice, and then I will move to China for the last one. I will be in 100% condition there. In Budapest, I don't think I will be in 100% condition, but that's the process of the season. It's super normal, and
Yeah, well, that sounds great. Well, we'll be cheering for you through the competitions. Good luck with the season.
Thank you very much.
Thank you to Matteo and his team for making this interview possible. You can watch some of Matteo's return to performance in the Ghiaccio Spettacolo on the On Ice Perspectives YouTube channel. We are wishing Matteo all the best as he's returning to competition soon with the Challenger Series Budapest Trophy and then on to the Grand Prix. If you want to reach me with any comments or questions on this episode or with people you think I should talk to in the future, you can reach me at fsfuturepodcast@gmail.com or on Instagram and Twitter at FutureFSPodcast. Special thanks to Ivan Danilyuk for editing and video production for this episode. You can support the work of the Future of Figure Skating by joining our tip jar at futureoffigureskating@pinecast.co. And remember to subscribe, review, and share the Future of Figure Skating podcast on whatever platform you use and sharing it with your friends.